So today in this video we will see that how can we evaluate the basic trigonometric functions or the ratios. Now the most important thing in order to understand about the trigonometric ratios, you must know that how to label a right triangle in the coordinate plane. So if you can see, there is a right triangle in your screen on your screen. So you can see that here is the right triangle. Okay, so remember that opposite to the right triangle, the leg or the side is always said to be the hypotenuse. Now, if we talk about a unit circle, and in the unit circle, if we are trying to make a right triangle, then remember this hypotenuse is always be the radius of the circle. And in a unit circle, when we say the unit, it means the r is equals to 1. But if it is not unit, you can just consider it as hypotenuse, and let's label it by r. Now the line which is dropped from the vertical, and you can see on the vertical axis or the vertical line, it is said to be the y. And if there is an angle, okay, over here there is an angle, and you can see that opposite to the angle, the vertical line is said to be the opposite or the perpendicular line. And now the remaining line is said to be the adjacent line or the base. Now when we talk about the sine, cosine and tangent, they are the basic trigonometric ratios. In order to memorize the formula, I would suggest if you memorize a name, Soh, Kah, Tua. Why I am asking you to memorize this name? Because these are the names with a hidden formula. So, O for opposite, A for adjacent, H for hypotenuse, S for sine, C for cosine, and T for tangent. Now sine theta, remember it's equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Then in our case, opposite is y and hypotenuse is r. Now let's take the other part, cos theta. If you see here, it's kah, yani adjacent over hypotenuse. And in our case, adjacent is x and hypotenuse is r. And sine tangent theta, if see, this is the tua, yani opposite over adjacent. In our case, opposite is y and adjacent is x. Now the question comes, how can we determine the value of the r? So if you remember, we have studied about the Pythagorean theorem. And the Pythagorean theorem says that c square equals to a square plus b square, where c is the hypotenuse and hypotenuse is square. It is the sum of the square of the two other sides. C never change. You can label A with anything and label B with anything. Now looking at this one, R is, in our case, if we were looking at the case which we were studying before, this was the theta, this was the y, this was the x, this is the r. So our opposite is square plus adjacent is square. So we can say that r square equals to x square plus y square. If we take the square root on both sides, we will get r equals to square root of x square plus y square. So memorize this formula also. Now try to solve few of the questions to understand this logic. They are asking you use the given points, that is 7 and 24, to find the basic trigonometric functions or ratios. So what are the basic ratios? It is sine theta, cosine theta and tangent theta. Remember, that sine theta is y over r, opposite over hypotenuse, cos is x over r, adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is y over x, that is opposite over adjacent. Now here, remember the x is here and y is here in the coordinate plane. Just put it over here. Now first thing is that x is given, y is given, but we need to find out the r. How to determine the r? The formula is x square plus y square. So x square, it means 7 square, and y square is 24 square. Write in the calculator to get the exact answer. So you will write under root 7 square plus 24 square, and you will get 25. So the value of the r is 25. Now replace all the values in your formula. Y is 24, r is 25. X over r, x is 7, r is 25. Y over x, it means y is 24 and x is 7. That is how you have to solve the question. Now, this question number 18, do it yourself and write the answer in the comment box. Let's try this question. The question is -2 and -2 are the coordinate planes. Don't get upset by a negative sign. No issue. This is your x coordinate. This is the y coordinate. The first thing is that write the sine, cosine and tangent values and the formula form. So formula is y over r, cos is x over r and tangent is y over x. Now the first thing I told you to find the r value by using the formula x square plus y square. Your x is -2, but don't forget to write in the bracket and then the power 2, and y is -2 and then whole square. So 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 is 2 root 2. So your r is 2 root 2. Write it in the calculator. Y is -2, r is 2 root 2. X is -2, r is 2 root 2, and y is -2, x is -2, answer is 1. These also questions you can write in the calculator to get the final answers. Now next question, -15 and 8. So the first thing is we have to find out the r value, which is x square plus y square. So your x is -15 and your y is +8. Replace the values, but when we write the -15, don't forget to make a bracket around it. Otherwise, your answer will be wrong. So write in the calculator square root of -15 whole square plus 8 square. And the answer is 17. So our r is 17. Now second thing, we are going to write here sine theta, cos theta and tangent theta. We will write the formula, that is y over r, x over r and y over x. What is y? Y is 8 and r is 17. X over r means -15 over 17. Y over x means 8 over -15. We can write it in the calculator to get the simplest form of the answers. So I hope that all these questions are clear to you. So let's solve one more question. -6 and 8. So x is -6 and y is 8. We have to find the value of r, which is x square plus y square. Replace the values. X is -6 whole square, r is 8 and then square. Write it in the calculator. The answer is 10. Now we will label sine theta, cos theta and tangent theta. The value of sine theta, the formula of sine theta is y over r. The formula for cos theta is x over r. And the formula for tangent theta is y over x. Now replace the value y over r. It means 8 over 10. Cos theta, x over r, which means negative 6 over 10. Tangent theta, y over x, means 8 over negative 6. Write in the calculator to get the simplified form of the answers. Let's try this question, 12 and negative 16. So here x is 12 and y is negative 16. The first thing is we find out the r value, which is x square plus y square. So in place of x, we simply write the 12, make a power 2. And in place of y, we will write negative 16. Write it with the power 2 and the answer is 20. Now, you know the formula sine theta, which is y over r. And in our case, y is negative 16 and r is 20. Simplify more. Then cos theta, that is x over r. So x is 12 and r is 20. Solve it. The last is tangent theta, which is y over x, and y is negative 16 and x is 12. So you can just simplify all these one by one to get the final answers. I hope that all the questions which I gave you is understood to you. I think that this is the time when you do it yourself. Die. It means do it yourself. And then write the answer if you want in the comment box. If you have any issue, then you can just ask me by writing a comment. So here the question is, what is the tangent of the angle of rotation theta from the x-axis with the terminal size that passes through the point 11 and 27 rounded to the nearest 1000. 1000 means after the decimal you should have 3 digits, but look at the 4th digit and round it off, which means if it is 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, then you have to add 1 in the last digit. Otherwise, keep it as it is. Now, first thing is they are asking you to find the tan theta. The formula for the tan theta is y over x. So you can see it's so simply y is 27 and x is 11 because all the coordinates are written in the form of x and y. Now write 27 divided by 11 and answer will be in the decimal 2.4545. 2.4545. Look, we have to till here, right? So after the 4 there is a 5, so you have to add 1 in this one. So your answer will be 2.455. 2.455. It's here. Next question, what is the cos of the angle of rotation when the coordinates are x and y, negative 5 and 25? Now remember, to find the cos, my formula is x over r, which means I need to find out the r hypotenuse, the formula for which the formula is x square plus y square. So x is negative 5 whole square and y is 25 whole square. Write in the calculator to get the final answer. Okay, so to get the final answer, our answer is 5 square root 26. Remember, do not keep writing in the decimal because if we will convert each and every figure in the decimal, so it will give you a little error in the end. So I normally suggest the students that round off or turn your answer into the decimal in the last step. Okay, so x is -5 and y is 5 square root of 6. Write in 5 square root of 26. Now write it in the calculator. So you will get in the end whatever the answer you will get, you have to turn it into the decimal form. So the answer will be -0.408. -0.408, which means I am making some mistake. So let's try to solve it from the beginning. So from the beginning, it's x over r. That means -5 over, now it is, yes, my mistake is that it is 5 square root of 26. Not 5 over square root of 6. In the calculator, I wrote here 5 over uh, 5 over -5 over 5 root 6. Okay, so that was my mistake. So answer is -0.196. So always remember that anyone can make the mistake, but if you make a mistake, please review your answer to find your own error, because sometimes in a hurry, in a rush, we just write the wrong figures and then it leads to an incorrect answer. Next question. Ethan states that the tangent of the angles of the rotation from the x-axis with a terminal size that passes through -3 and -4 is -5. Now you have to find out the tangent theta, and the formula is y over x. So what is y? Y is -4, and what is x? It is -3. So the answer is 4 over 3. Whereas he is saying -5. Why he is saying -5? I think that he is trying to calculate the r, that is -3 whole square plus -4 whole square, and the answer is 5. And he is something is he's feeling that this r, okay, could be his answer. So I don't know that why he wrote this -5 and from where he brought. Just he found out the r value and then he thought that r should be a negative number. But whereas in order to find the tangent, we have to use the formula and get our final answer. Now, the next topic is classify the angles. But before we start classifying the angles, we should know that which quadrant and what signs of the quadrant are. Remember, we always go in anti-clockwise direction, starting with the first quadrant, then we have the second quadrant, then we have the third quadrant, and in the last, fourth quadrant. This is the Roman language. Now, we know that in the first quadrant, the first thing is x and then we have the y, right? So, x value and the y value. In a unit circle, remember one thing, that in the unit circle, we say that the radius is equals to 1, right? So, what is the formula of cos theta? It's y over r. Whatever the y is, if r is 1, so cos theta, not cos theta, it's sine theta, right? So whatever the value of y is, the y over 1 gives me the y in a unit circle. Similarly, cos theta, it's x over r, and in a unit circle, r is 1, so cos theta is x. So can you see here that if I want to find out the x in a unit circle, x means I am trying to talk about the cos theta, and y means I am talking about the sine theta. Okay, so here look at this side. So the x value on this side is positive, right? So x is positive and the y value on this side is also positive. Now, if I understand this one, then let's try to see that what is happening in the second quadrant. So in the second quadrant, x is negative and what is the y? Y is positive. What is happening in the third quadrant? In the third quadrant, the x is negative and the y is also negative. Now, what is happening in the fourth quadrant? In the fourth quadrant, my x is positive and my y is negative. Why I need it? Because in the ancient time, there were no calculators. So we have to find out the values of cos and sine and tangent with the help of this coordinate plane, and their signs also be calculated accordingly. So when I say what is the sign of cos theta in the first quadrant? So in the first quadrant, cos theta is plus. What is the sign of sine theta in the third quadrant? So sine means y. So in the third quadrant, sine theta is negative. What is the sign of cos theta in the fourth quadrant? So in the fourth quadrant, cos theta refers to always x. So in the fourth quadrant is positive. So this is how we tell about the sign of the cosine and sine. Now what would happen about the tangent? So we know that the tangent is y over x. Y refers to the sine theta and x refers to the cos theta in the unit circle. So let's see here. So look at this one. For tangent theta, sine over cosine, right? So tangent theta, if plus divided by plus gives me what? Plus sine. So in the first quadrant, the tangent theta is positive. Now what is happening in the second quadrant? So in the second quadrant, plus divided by minus. It's same like multiplication. Plus minus gives me minus. So the tangent is negative in the second quadrant. What is happening in the third quadrant? In the third quadrant, the tangent is positive. Why? Because negative times negative gives me positive. And what is happening in the last quadrant? So plus times minus is minus. So this is the sign of the tangent theta. Now they are saying name the quadrant in which these angles lie. You know 50 degree. Now have a look here. Okay, so this is 0 degree. This is 90 degree. Okay, this is 200. This is 180 degree, and then this is 270 degree, and when we come back it is 360 degree. So 50 degree is between 0 and 9, so it is the first quadrant. Now 208 degree, it's actually what? 208 degree is in the third quadrant. It is in the third quadrant. The reason is that this is 200 comes between lies between 180 and 270 degree. So this is the first, this is the third. Now negative 75 degree. Of course negative 75 is also in the first quadrant, but if we go in the other way, yani if we go anti-clockwise, if we go as a clockwise, this angle of rotation is negative. So in the current scenario, you can say that this is in the fourth quadrant. Otherwise, you have to say that this is in the first quadrant, but going in the wrong yonder and clockwise direction. So here whatever I have explained, here is the detail. You can write the notes from here. Now again here sine is positive, tangent is negative. Look at this, okay? Sine means y. Cosine means x. And tangent is the combination of the sine and cosine. So here it is plus and here it is plus. Over here it is negative and positive. Over here it is negative and negative. Over here it is positive and negative. Let's write positive positive plus. It's the sign of tangent. Plus minus minus. It's the sign of tangent. Minus minus plus. It's the sign of tangent. Plus minus is minus. It's the sign of tangent. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant and fourth quadrant. Let's try to write the notes and after that come and solve this question. Sine is positive, y is plus, tangent is negative. So y is plus here and tangent is negative. Which quadrant is this? It's the second quadrant. Cosine and sine are negative. So where cosine and sine are negative? Both are negative in the third quadrant. Cosine and tangent both are positive. Yani x is positive and tangent is positive. Okay. So it is our first quadrant. So any question can come. You have to first of all sketch the diagram and keep all the information in front of you and then see that what they are asking you. So here without actually evaluating the trigonometric function, look at this question and see whether it is positive or negative. Now you can write it in the calculator to get the final answer and from there you can see whether the answer is plus or minus. But I told you before that in the previous years there were no calculators, so they used to write themselves. So just understand that how and then do it yourself with the help of even calculator. So 225 is in the third quadrant, right? It is in the third quadrant. Now in the third quadrant, y value is what? Y value is negative. So it means you have a negative answer. Now cos 300. 300 is in the fourth quadrant, right? Because it's between 270 and 300. Now cos means x value and x value is positive in the fourth quadrant. Now tangent 150. So 150 is in the second quadrant. Second quadrant, the cos is positive, cos is negative, sine is positive. So plus times minus is minus. So you will get the minus answer. Now if you have a difficulty in solving the radian measures, I would suggest that if you just either write in the calculator but keep the calculator in the radian mode. So shift mode, when you will press shift mode or shift menu, you go to the angle and change the angle into radian form to get the correct answer. Otherwise, if you have a difficulty in understanding this part also, you convert your 11 pi by 6 into the degree. So for the degree, we write here 180 over pi and we will get 33 degree. If we write in the calculator, we will get 33 degree. So 33 degree means y first quadrant and in the first quadrant sine is positive. Now cosine of negative 45 degree, negative pi by 4. Okay, so it will give you a positive answer. Okay. So similarly, either you can write directly in the calculator to get the final answers or do it manually. So I would suggest to use the calculator and write the answer. They are saying write the answer in the radian form and in the degree form. So when you write in the degree form, you change the calculator into degree mode. When you write the answer in the radian form with the pi, change the calculator into radian mode. Okay, and then evaluate it. So for example, shift menu, let me write all the questions which are with the degree and then all the questions answer which are in the radian mode. So I am writing here sine negative 340 degree. So my answer is in the degree mode 0.34. Then tangent 125 degree. So my answer is negative 1.428. Then I will write here cos negative 100 degrees. So I will get negative 0.17. Now next question. In order to handle with the pi, it's pi by 12. I have to change my calculator into radian mode. Make sure that you are doing it correctly. So write here sine. Don't forget to write the pi which is already in the calculator. So you will get an answer as negative root 6 minus root 2 over 4. Then if I write here cos 4 pi by 5, my answer is negative 0.809. And if I write here tangent negative 3 pi by 5, my answer will be 3.077 or 778 because after the 7 there is a 6, so I round it out. Okay, so till here I hope that you understood, and now let's meet in the next video to solve other concepts.